Welcome to the Cheshire Centurions podcast, where we explore the journey of local business leaders making a real impact. Today, I'm speaking with James Walley, who's co-owner of Crocky Trails, a much-loved local adventure park with deep roots in creativity and community. From its humble beginnings as a hobby in the early 90s, Crocky Trails has grown into a unique destination, part sculpted trail, part wild adventure, and 100% family fun. In this episode, James talks about the fascinating origin story of Crocky Trails and how he transitioned from the fashion world in Italy to revitalising the family business, while failure is fundamental to entrepreneurial success, and why he dislikes the word entrepreneur itself, the importance of infrastructure, team building, and what it really means to balance health, work, and life. James' advice: don't kid yourself, do the hard maths before you dive in. And when you do, surround yourself with great people, because no one succeeds alone. Let's dive in. James, welcome to the Chester Centurion podcast.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. So before we get started today, James, I'd love to know a little bit more about the business, how long it's been trading, and tell us a bit about Crocky Trails.
The Crocky Trail started probably more like 89 than 90. I mean, a long time ago. Eton Golf Course was moved off Eton Estate, and there was a bit of a field swap. And as a result of that, there was this stream and pathway going through these fields that there was a nice little point with the trees over the stream, and it looked really nice. So Dad had this idea to turn it into a circular pathway. But it was kind of a sculpture trail, really, at the time.
Mm-hmm.
There were swings across the stream, but most of the features were like art pieces that were, in the early days, they were mainly done by a local lad called Robin Connolly, who old family kind of friend, and he had a workspace at the farm. So him and Dad had shared this passion, and they, so he made a monster made out of tires in the stream, and then, so that we're talking about early 90s. This little hobby started, and I think it was 93. 93, we probably discovered that people went there and started maybe charging the odd pound or something like that. That I might be wrong on those dates, but I remember. No, it'd be a lot later. It'd be later than that anyway. But I remember in 93, I was 17, 18, and doing my A-level design. And there's still a bridge here, a crocodile-shaped bridge that I did then.
Love
I'm
it.
50 now. So that's, what's that, 33 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so what can I say? It was Dad's. I mean, I don't know if this is the right way to frame it, but I'd say the Crocky Trail was my dad's hobby from the early 90s until 2010. It was a part-time job that he did in the summer, and then went back to farming projects or other sculpture projects in winter, and he did it pretty much on his own until about 2010. And that's when I came home. I'd been in Italy for a decade designing clothes. I came back as a washed out fashion designer, a 34-year-old pensioned, too old for that game at 34.
Wow.
Yeah, and I also came home. The company had gone bust, and I was trying to find a new direction. I mean, I even teamed up with a girlfriend to make a feature film, hoping to find a new career in I don't know, in Hollywood. Yeah,
in Hollywood. Wow. Love it.
That was a fun experience. It's one hell of a challenge, but yeah, I was. It wasn't. I was already. as I said, my tail was pretty well between my legs, and it wasn't really the time to be speculating. So after that little project was done, I started working both for my dad and my brother. Really, I was mixing myself between helping dad on the Crocky Trail and helping my brother on the farm a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Mucking out cowsheds at 34, feeling a bit sorry for myself.
Oh no!
with an Italian bank wanting my future.
Wanting your heart and soul.
Yeah. Because I mean, I don't know if this is a great subject for a podcast, but in Italy, there's no such thing as personal bankruptcy, so that debt stays with you for your whole life. But the fun thing is, there is such thing as banks going bankrupt. So those debts don't follow you for life because they go bankrupt.
I know the Crocky Trails has grown up to be, an incredible local attraction. I've had my children there. I love the place. It's really, really cool, James. And credit to you and your family for building something so unique and so different that people really enjoy visiting. But I also know you as, I guess, a serial entrepreneur, if I could describe you like that. I mean, what's the motivation to get involved in all these businesses that you got involved in, James? What drives you?
A sucker for punishment, because I've got one word I really hate is entrepreneur, because it has this ingrained assumption of success. And if anything defines entrepreneurial endeavor, it is failure, not success. Yes, I have tried so many things, and I don't know, the results are almost irrelevant, because that's the research journey you go on. For example, when I was in Italy, I had a fashion brand, a denim brand for mainly women's jeans, and it was called My Ass, and it was a really nice, cool product. Really good, kind of branding. I couldn't get it off the ground. I mean, I thought we were doing really well for the first year, and then I realised that my head salesman, who negotiated great pay with me, was selling everything sale or return, but not writing sale or return on the orders. So for a year, I thought I was like really hot, and then realised that no, I was just steaming mess. And in that process, I tried to save the business by building a factory in Pakistan, and was that entrepreneurial? Was that naive? What is that? I mean, it was a headache when I found myself with my two managers arguing with each other over pay rates, and standing in Pakistan, trying to run a factory without speaking a word of Urdu, on my own, in the middle of martial law and riots. So that was an interesting education.
I think you're onto something there without a shadow of a doubt. I think failure is almost as important. Well, probably more important than success. I think you're 100% right there, James. But there is something built in that certain individuals that go for their their goals, and that not everybody would have gone and started a factory, and not everybody would have tried the jeans brand, and not everybody would have started Crocky Trails. There is something different about people that go and start their own businesses, right?
The need to escape from reality.
Is that what it is? Maybe you're right.
Probably.
But I mean, that leads us on to, what would you regard as some, I guess, the misconceptions about running a business? How do you go about addressing them?
Yeah. I think, I mean, to answer that question, I imagine myself when I was younger, and I had this perception that, you walk into town and you see 300 restaurants, and you assume that means there's 60 seats in each restaurant, therefore there must be 300 times 60. So what's that? 1,800 seats. I've got that wrong.
It sounds about right.
1,800 different clients every single day wanting a table in a restaurant in Chester. Well, that isn't true. The truth is, there's one trading evening a week, and 2/3 of the restaurants don't cover their bills because that day just didn't work. I think there's so many businesses out there that people put their life savings into because they like the lifestyle of it. And when you walk down a street, you think to yourself, oh, this must be really vibrant. And actually, no, you just realize that people got really expensive hobbies. The world's fascinating because on one hand, there is money everywhere. And on the other hand, disposable cash is remarkably scarce. And when put in competition with the other businesses that want it, let's say. So I don't know. I'm rambling, but what I'm trying to say is that everything's harder than you think. I used to always scratch my head when I was in Italy, and people would say to you, and all, it felt like a very common thing you'd hear in Italy is nothing's easy. And yeah, that's true. Nothing's easy.
It becomes easier if you do something that people want, right? I think rather.
To me, the answer is it's all about infrastructure, and the first step is the naked infrastructure free step, and that's when you blow over in the wind and you'll never get back up again. But when you are a mile in and you've got a team of 5 or 3 and you've got equipment and you've got experience, then you can start to compound something. But the story of start the 0 to 1, and I think when you talk about entrepreneurs and stuff, it's like, well, I think you would say generally that's characterized as people who like first step 0 to 1 kind of challenges. And yeah, that's something I've done probably too much of, because and I've probably done too much of it because I've probably not been good enough at the research behind it. Like there's so many potential ideas for businesses, but how do you understand if XYZ company are going to do it or not, and how long they're going to do it and how they're going to do it? So it's a lot easier to take the second, third, and fourth step for in a business than it is the first. And if you've got a starting point that you can develop, that's a much stronger position to be in than having, trying to get something off the block.
Yeah, it does make sense. How do you get your work-life balance right, or is there such a thing as a work-life balance? I guess would might be a better question. And do you have any sort of personal habits that keep you motivated and focused?
I mean, you're assuming there's only 2 things: work and life. How do you get everything balanced? I mean, my interest is health. So, I'd say I've got kind of 4 different things to balance. One is managing the businesses that work and exist. Second are those research projects that I hope could become something. Third is managing my health, and developing a sustainable health protocol, which might sound a bit ridiculous to most people, but I have, confronted illness in the past, and I feel it's a big subject that, without going, I guess I'll touch on that, but in a second. But then also your life balance, and your life balance is also your health balance, because that's the thing that lowers your blood pressure, and that's the thing that nourishes your kind of your belly and your heart, and your head. So, all right, I've just rambled to say that it's a detailed question, but how do I think I have a balanced work-life balance? Or, well, I'd like to say almost, but probably not. And why not? Because I find these projects too interesting, so I do, become a bit too attached to the research side of things. But at the same time, I play a lot of sport, got a great family, and make sure I get enough hugs in. And then I think, it's funny, it's like my blood markers say that I live a hyper stressed life. I think I'm just doing what I find interesting. And so the answer to that is my blood markers say that I don't have a balanced life and I'm not very good at it. Spirit says that I have a pretty good balanced life because I play football 2 to 3 times a week and, manage to get into a restaurant with the family once or twice and don't stay in the office beyond 5 o'clock. But yeah, I think you need to ask my therapist if I've got a good.
Well, I kind of like that. I like your first response there. How do I get everything balanced? That's a much, much better question than work-life balance. How do I get
balance is a slightly simplistic question. It's structured as well and organized. And my kind of obsession is building organizations. There's the idea is that a business manager is an organizational architect. And another kind of saying that I like is that businesses have their boss's personality. And so my interest is, I'll give you another saying, that I always like to say to myself, don't be smart, be professional. And so that they're kind of the things that define the way I approach work, really. And try and make probably technology, because without technology, organizations just a promise, doesn't really exist. How to increase our infrastructure, whether that's financial organization or new machinery in the workshop or new cameras or new computer systems. Pardon me. And yeah, I mean, and another saying I often say to myself is, you don't get anywhere on your own. So we've got my younger brother Jack, who works with us. He's an excellent engineer. Obviously got some great members of staff with really good technological know-how. And I work with a couple of programmers in India. One on like kind of website and AI stuff, and one on finance stuff. And on your own, you're not going to get anywhere on your own typing into a chat GPT for answers. The answer, the success comes from the guide rails you can build for things like ChatGPT to run on and think and so yeah, it's all about. I mean, it's just we're in a nice position now because we've been going for years. We're older than Domino's. We're older than Amazon, for God's sake.
That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool.
And Domino's Pizza. So, I mean, I guess our achievements are pretty poor, really. But why do I say that? Just to say that no, we're stable and we have excess cash to invest into infrastructural stuff to make us more organized and more efficient and less chaotic, and that's really enjoyable project to work on.
And thinking of Crocky Trails, is there anything you're allowed to share with us about maybe the next chapter of the journey for the Crocky Trail?
Well, I can tell you what I was doing this morning.
Go on.
I was talking to our two tech guys in India, and we're trying to build a centralized AI system so that it can read all our invoices in Xero. It can read all our sales on the payment ticketing system we use, Smeets. It
Mhm.
can read all of our CCTV camera memory. It can read our staff management software that we used, Deputy, so that instead of me pretending to know what the business is doing, instead of me pretending to understand the price of baked beans this month as opposed to last month, or the price of the soft drinks, and the efficiency of staff, even maybe, I can just now, we're very close to being able to simply converse with my own private secure AI bot and discuss any question about the business in an instant. So I'll be able to ask it. I'll be able to ask it about, how much did we pay this month to, XYZ supplier? How much of their products gone up? Are our margins? Have we maintained our margins since last year? Has our staff costs gone up more than our ticket costs? Have our, it'll simplify the whole process of managing the park.
Mhm.
But also, I'll be able to say things like, I'm looking for a lost boy with a yellow t-shirt and blue shorts, and it'll say camera 32.
Wow.
And I'll be able to say, I can't find, a member of maintenance staff. Where can I find them? So that's what I was working on this morning, which is exciting.
That sounds pretty cool. I mean, I was privileged enough to spend some time with Priya Lakini, who I think she's part of the government program on AI, and she talks about the 3 Ps, which is productivity, personalization, and predictive. He says we're all using it for productivity. We're all, asking ChatGPT to write us a letter or whatever it may be. Personalization is coming as well, where we can respond to our clients in a much more personal way. Which she says we're missing a trick with being predictive, and the more inputs you give to your own secure AI engine, the more predictive it can help.
I think I heard actually Jensen Huang talking about the intellectual property within NVIDIA, and saying that 90% of our knowledge is not online.
Interesting.
So AI has got no access to it, and so the question is, and this is what I'm trying to get sorted out for the management of this business, and when we're more, let's say, competent, hopefully even offer it to other businesses to use. But the point being that public information isn't the biggest body of information. There's an awful lot of private information that you have that you need better visibility of. And I also use, obviously, AI a lot for health. A big passion of mine is trying to understand what a sustainable health protocol is. And what I mean by that is, like, I did a toxicology report, and I went to the GP and said, I've got a mold infection. What do I do about it? And they said, well, we don't have a toxicologist. Don't know. And then so I did research and treated the mold infection, retested it. The mold infection had gone down, and then it's came out that I had a glyphosate infection. Yet to establish the source of that, possibly, I don't know. Anyway, so I went to the GP. She said, "What's glyphosate?" Oh, great. So, AI and health is obviously the future, but the question is, what questions should you be asking? How should you be managing those questions? How frequently should you manage them? And depending on what you've had or got, how should you kind of move forward? So that's another kind of passion of mine. I always think that this idea that technology will only turn us into centenarians if we use it proactively, not reactively. If we use it to improve our health, it will. But if we try and expect it to reanimate a knackered corpse, it's not going to do anything. So, and I don't think enough people use the technology we have as a management tool. They're expecting it just to save them, and I don't kind of think it's best used in that way. I think, there was the guy from AlphaFold said within 10 years, all diseases will be cured. Yeah, that's great. But it'll become accessible to the general public in about 25 years and on the NHS in about 50. So, yeah, in the meantime, I think you've got to use the technology that exists to de-risk.
Listen, James, this has been absolutely fascinating. I've got 3 or 4 really big takeaways. So thank you so much for that. The first one is, a business manager is an organizational architect. I absolutely love that. The business takes on the owner's personality as well. That resonated with me. And you don't get any. You've still got the bruises to prove it. And you don't get anywhere on your own. You've got to surround yourself with like-minded people that are really going for it and can help you along the way. And the last one there, use AI to proactively live a healthier lifestyle. So cool. Some really good stuff there. Listen, I've got one more question, but it is a biggie. And you've kind of covered over some of it already. But, what advice would you offer an aspiring entrepreneur, or sort of, I'm using that entrepreneur word again, sorry James, but and maybe someone starting their own journey or maybe having some challenges in their business, what are the 3 biggest pieces of advice you could give? Is that it?
Good luck.
Good luck.
What advice would I give? I mean, I've got a big interest in financial markets. And the thing I love about financial markets is that they turn everything into a probability question. So, if you buy X option at Y price at, Z date, what's the chances that you will, that it'll hit that price and that you'll double or triple your money, whatever. And you've got, in financial markets, you're always asking yourself the question of what is the risk adjusted return? And I think when you do anything, the question is, what's the risk adjusted return? So is it 50-50 that it'll come off? And if it comes off, what will it pay out? Will it pay out 1,000 times what you put in? Because the problem I think that most people have when they start a business is that it costs them, I don't know, 60 grand to start. And they assume the success rate is 90%. When in truth, the success rate is maybe 55%. And the return is only 20% a year. So you're now saying to yourself, right, 20% return, that's, 120 times by 60% probability. Oh, I better keep that money in the bank. And I think that's the conversation you need to have with yourself. What's the risk adjusted return? Because listen, if you think you are, let's say, a biologist that's got the next cure to cancer, and that you and your hopefully team have got access to the infrastructure, and then from there access to the finance to get even more infrastructure, and you think, actually, I think I've got a 70% chance at a 10,000x return. Oh, well, then go. But if you're talking about opening, I don't know, a cafe or whatever you're going to do, recognize that it's going to probably cost you more, and the probability of success, you've got to be honest. If you walk down the street and you can see that 3 have closed and there's only 10 in the street, then the best you're ever going to get is a 70% success rate. 70% when you're only earning 20% a year if it works, or because actually staff costs go up all the time, and insurance goes up all the time. Maybe an accumulator at the horse race is a better bet to put your money on.
It's not really like that. The risk-adjusted return. So doing your due diligence, doing your business plan ahead, looking at the opportunity, right?
It's not a nice thing to say to someone, because no one does it honestly anyway.
No.
And no one knows how to do it.
There's always rose-tinted glasses, right?
But it's a start to think of it in that sense. I think the main thing is it's like, look at money generally. Money chases the highest return. And when interest rates were low and buy-to-lets were all the thing, you could go and buy a cheap house in a working class town with a 7, 8, 9% yield on it, and you could get a 3.5% mortgage, and you could make good money with good capital gains, etc. If you opened it in a limited company under current tax rules. That is just, why do I say that? At the moment it's obviously a bit different because interest rates are higher. Always bear that in mind. But the point is, the reason I say that is, don't go and do a business that you'll tell yourself it's going to pay you 40% a year anyway. But the truth is, it's going to pay you 20. And if that's the same as a buy-to-let can do in Birkenhead, don't open a cafe. Don't go and become an employee and tell yourself that you're getting a return on investment because you're just working 20 hours a day. So, yeah, I think it's a really good practice to have an experience of something like, let's say a refurb or a buy-to-let, because it's nice to say to yourself, I could do that project, but I shouldn't, because it's going to take up so many more hours and give me the same return as something that is more passive. Nothing's passive, but more passive. So to establish a baseline of what your passive looks like, and then always discount that against any hopefully honest risk-adjusted return you can calculate.
It's incredible. It's so useful for so many people out there, James. Thank you.
Pleasure.
And I think the other takeaways that you've given us is make sure that when it does start to grow, you surround yourself with the right people as well. Incredible.
To build a nice team. That's the other thing. If you can start with one good team member, then you've got twice as much chance.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being on today, James. It's been an absolute pleasure, and hopefully we can have a chat